Jim, how's it going? My name is Chow. Got Gunner over here. What are you up to today?
All right. I'm doing this insane radio tour, 27 interviews.
Yeah, scanning the country, I suppose. The book's out today, The Interstellar Age Inside the 40-Year Voyager Mission. I actually got to read the book already, and I thought it was great because Gunner and I, we're rock radio DJs, but it's kind of nerdy. We like to come in here all the time, and we just like to talk about space because it's just a mind-boggling topic. It really is. So
True.
What inspired you to write this book?
I got inspired when I was a kid, watching guys drive cars around on the moon, right? And that was really cool. And then I also got inspired by a TV show called Cosmos that was on in the early 80s. Carl Sagan, the astronomer, hosted. And so I've always been interested in space and astronomy. And then I got involved as a student. I got involved in the Voyager mission through one of my mentors at college, and just sort of took off as a career from there. And this is Voyager's been back in the news because the Voyager 1 just popped out of the bubble that surrounds the sun. The sun's magnetic field and solar wind sort of create this bubble around it, just like all the other stars have their own bubbles. And Voyager 1 popped out of that bubble in 2012. Voyager 2 is going to pop out this year or next year. So it's pretty timely. They're entering a new part of space and a new part of their mission.
Now let's talk about that for a minute. For those who haven't read this book yet, what was the Voyager 1 mission and Voyager 2? Can you explain that a little bit?
Sure. There were two spacecraft that were launched about a month apart in 1977, and their mission was to explore the outer solar system. And so they took advantage of a once every 175-year opportunity to send us a probe to Jupiter and have it diverted right onto Saturn, and then have it diverted right onto Uranus and then Neptune. And those planets line up like that only every 175 years. So there was this unique opportunity to visit all of them with one or two missions. And so NASA took that opportunity. And, in 77, we didn't know much about the outer planets. We could see Jupiter and Saturn and other planets through telescopes, but they were kind of fuzzy blobs, and their moons were just dots, just points of light. We didn't know what they were like at all. And so when Voyager went there and basically took us there through the eyes, their camera eyes, and through their senses with their chemical instruments, they took all of us there really close, flying by all these planets and discovering these moons that are now worlds of their own. The moon Io around Jupiter has the most active volcanoes in the solar system, much more than the Earth does. The moon Europa around Jupiter has a subsurface ocean underneath its icy shell, and there's more salty water in that ocean than there is in all the oceans on the Earth. The moon Titan around Saturn has a thick atmosphere that's kind of smoggy and hydrocarbon, and it might be what the early Earth's atmosphere was like. And all four giant planets have rings, not just Saturn. I mean, none of these things, we didn't know any of these things before Voyager started. And so it really has been a mission of just discovery. Get out there, see what we see, try to figure it out.
Yeah, and that was one of my favorite things to read about in the book was Jupiter and Saturn and just the moons, because the moons are so, just the possibility of life at some point there, or even now that we may still not even know. So when it comes to the Voyager 1 and 2, you mentioned all those discoveries, the rings and the moons. In your opinion, what is the greatest of all of the discoveries of the Voyager mission so far?
I think it is the discovery that there are other habitable worlds way, way out there in the solar system. We tend to think about habitable worlds like the Earth having to be close to the star that they're orbiting, where it's nice and warm, kind of in the Goldilocks zone. Maybe Venus is too hot, maybe Mars is too cold, but Earth is just right. But now, we see places like Europa around Jupiter and Ganymede around Jupiter, these ocean worlds that have these icy coverings over them, and just the tidal forces of those planets and moons are heating them from the inside. And just the diversity of different kinds of rocky and icy objects with atmospheres or not, with giant volcanoes or not, with huge cracked icy crusts or not. Nobody expected so much variation among the worlds out there, and I think that is the legacy of Voyager.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to throw this out there. In your opinion, because you're very involved in this, you obviously wrote a book about it. How close, I mean, this could be 100 years down the line. At what point do you think somebody actually discovers a different kind of life on a different planet or moon or something? I mean, even microscopic. I mean, at what time frame do you think that happens?
I don't know, man. It could be any time. There's the Curiosity rover is drilling into Mars right now, collecting samples and looking for organic molecules. Any one of those samples could contain some organic molecules, or who knows, maybe even a fossil, who knows, right? The Cassini spacecraft is flying around Saturn, passing by the small moon Enceladus that has these geysers coming out of its subsurface, and maybe there's organic molecules and remnants of life in those geysers that'll be sensed by that mission. I don't know, man. I like the fact that we're looking. We're out there looking. Ground-based telescopes in space are searching for planets around other stars and trying to characterize them. And who knows? Maybe one of them will show up with this, thick oxygen atmosphere and other chemical signatures that indicate that there's life on that world. I think it's just exciting to be actually doing the search in our own solar system and among other solar systems. And it could be tomorrow, it could be next week, it could be 10 years from now, it could be 50 years from now, it could be never. We don't know. And that's part of the excitement of exploration.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought for sure. Now, in the book, there's a lot of funny stuff in there. I was actually surprised because, believe it or not, I haven't read a lot of scientific books since I've been out of school, since I've been out of college and everything. But there's a lot of funny moments, like I believe the lady's name was Candy. She would always make cookies for everybody because it was a stressful time. And I don't know why I found it so funny, but there's a paragraph where you were just explaining the pronunciation of Uranus.
Uranus.
Yeah, because everybody says Uranus. I mean, we all do. That's just fun. But so it made me wonder, is there a lot of comedy in being a planetary scientist? Like, is it a fun job or is it a stressful gig? What is it like?
It is a stressful gig, and a lot of us enjoy lighthearted moments. And, a bunch of us, I'm also working with the Mars rover missions, and so a bunch of us were pulling pranks on each other during the most stressful parts of that. Nothing destructive, just fun stuff. And one day, the people working in the room next to us came in, and we had shrink wrapped all of their chairs and keyboards and computer monitors. Just for fun. Let off a little steam, and everybody's good about it. And they got us back. We came in the next day, and our room was completely filled with those plastic beer cups.
Oh, yeah.
They were full right to the top, every single one of them with water across the entire room. The entire room was tiled with these cups of water. Crazy, man. And, there's lots of that kind of, camaraderie and humor that goes back and forth because, it is stressful. It's not, stressful like, oh my God, like being in combat or something, but there's a lot of money on the line. A lot of people have put huge amounts of time. And for a mission like Voyager, you get one shot. It's a flyby. That's it. You're not going back. If you left the lens cap on or screwed up the exposure on the picture, that you've blown it. And so people really felt that pressure tangibly, and I think humor is one way to kind of deal with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, of course, the Interstellar Age inside the 40-year Voyager mission. It's out now. What's next for you, Jim?
So I'm working on a bunch of Mars rover projects and looking to maybe put a book together about the way that space exploration is used to help us learn about our own planet and many of the problems and issues and controversies we face on our own planet.
We look forward to it, man. I love the book, Interstellar Age. It is out now. Thanks so much for the time, and keep pumping out the good stuff, man. We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks. Great to talk to you guys. Thanks for being on the program.